The big question is, why have I decided to go vegan? I've really loved animals. I never like to see them in pain. I never like to see them uncomfortable or distressed. A lot of trucks hauling a lot of animals around in closed, confined spaces, and the way that it made me feel, I just didn't seem right to me. Now's the time, I'm gonna do it, and if it affects my performance in an adverse way, then I don't care. I'm just gonna do it because that's the way it makes me feel.
James Newbury, I'm going to convince you that he's an absolute beast. This won't be hard. He's that dreadlock wearing, vegan diet eating, Australia's fittest man titled guy who would rather be buried alive to gain the Earth's sustenance absolute weapon. James Newbury is an absolute beast! Adelaide, Australia, James Newbury has been a dominating force in the CrossFit Australia scene since 2016, essentially being undefeated in all national competition up until last weekend at the ACC, where he took second overall. There's a few main points that I want to cover about James Newbury today. The hair, the food, coffee, a few things more related to his athletical performance, such as training, his nutrition, and his achievements. Because he's a fucking beast. Let's start with his training. But firstly, what do you love about James Newbury? Comment down below and tell me who you think should be on the next episode.
I guess for people that want to get to the games, yes, it's very hard. And if you haven't done any sport up until the time that you decide that I want to go to the games, if you're I would say above, 20 years old, it's going to be very difficult for you to do that. I started CrossFit in 2011 and my CrossFit has been developed since 2011 up until 2018. It was from the age of 8 years old when I was going out and running at athletics, that type of stuff is all translated. Same type of thing goes for CrossFit, all these skills and attributes that develop into someone being an overall athlete, like we need in CrossFit, is something that has been developed since I was 8 years old for the last 20 years, not just the last 8 years that I've been doing CrossFit. So people need to take that into account as well.
Starting off with training, James trains on a program called Decacomp with fellow athletes such as Patrick Vellner and Laura Horvath. James follows a program similar to CompTrain, Mayhem, and Invictus. At the end of the day, the program is like a routine for the athletes to follow. Being on this program won't make you James. It takes character, guts, and will to succeed.
When you said, what would you give advice to someone who's having a crack or who wants to have a crack at something? At the end of the day, the best you can do is give your best effort. That's it. Simple as that. And then, that gave me such a relief when I'm lining up in the corrals, and it's a nerve-wracking thing. You're lining up against Matt Fraser and Noah Olsen on either side of you, and Pat Vellner and Brent Vikowski, and you're just like, holy shit, this workout's going to be hard. Am I going to do well? Am I going to do bad? And it's like, well, all I can do is do my best.
Well, you're there.
That's it.
Start.
I can only do my best, and I can't do anything more than that. Simple as that. And then when I think about that, I just cool, I'm here, whatever.
Nutrition. James is vegan, which is obvious. This provides James with a unique challenge as a CrossFit athlete to get the adequate macronutrients required to perform at such a high level. What intrigues me is that James is one of the only high-level vegan CrossFit athletes. Because all you keyboard warriors out there gonna stop me being like, he wasn't always vegan, he ate meat at some point in his life. Yeah, he did. And it probably shaped him in the body and physical performance in the way it did. However, James has been vegan for over a year now, and he's still performing at such a high level. However, James made a conscious switch to veganism because of ethical reasons. Or in English, he loved them animals. Regardless of how you look at his diet, James's best CrossFit Games year was in 2019, which he finished 5th overall on a vegan diet. James is a part of The Method Now, who fuel athletes such as Tia-Clair Toomey. They help cultivate his diet to suit his ethical means and performance all in one, allowing James to perform at such a high level on a what's considered unconventional diet. Look, I'm no vegan advocate. I had 4 eggs and steak for breakfast. However, looking at how James lives his lifestyle kind of made me want to try to be vegan. I tried True Protein Vegan 85. It tasted like sawdust and I regretted the decision instantly. However, it gave me that little bit of motivation as a soul life meat eater to at least try outside the box. He motivated me to give it a go. James Newberry is 29 years old, weighs in at 87 kilos or 190 pounds, 177 centimeters tall. He was a bubble athlete for many years. 9th in 2012, 11th in 2013, 4th in 2014, so fucking close. He took on the dreads. In 2016, James qualified for the CrossFit Games with a 2nd place regional finish. From then onwards, James has been the most dominant force down under, coming first in both 2017 and 18, and also winning the Australian CrossFit Championship, and as a team winning the Down Under CrossFit Championship in 2019. At the Games, James has finished 24th in 16, 26th in 17, 18th in 18, and 5th in this year's previous Games. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing. This year, James had a freak accident. Riding down the hill, James lost control and ran headfirst into a tree. Happy 29th birthday, James, you psycho. How do you recover from such an accident? How do you simply bounce back? Classic James Blueberry style with a motherfucking Ironman. A few months post-surgery, James competed in an Ironman. Ironman, for those who don't know, are long distance swim, something like 2.4 miles, long distance bike, something close to 112 miles, and then finally a run, upwards of 26 miles. He completed that after snapping his back in 2. With a time of 10 hours, 14 minutes. That is insane. My 2.4 mile swim would take 10 hours, 14 minutes. For fuck's sake, I'm so bad at it. James continued his speedy recovery, backing up with the recent Australian CrossFit Championship 2020, coming 2nd overall after 4 days of grueling competition. So how can you find James? How do you get in touch? How do you get in contact? Well, apart from his Instagram, James Newberry, he also has a YouTube channel. This is just James Newberry as well, kind of obvious. I'm talking about external platforms. How do you get part of his program? How do you go to his gym? Now, James is a gym owner. And apart from being knee deep in water, on his trail bike, or at the local botanic gardens looking after the wildlife, James owns a gym called Soul 365 Adelaide. You guessed it, it's based in Adelaide, right in the center of the CBD. He also runs a program called the Ultra Instinct Athlete. Make sure you don't forget the dot. Ultra Instinct Athlete, where the program's methodology focuses on performance, health, and longevity. James posts regularly on his Instagram with what he calls work-ins, which the point of it is quite similar to earthing, whether you believe it or not. He mainly touches on getting more sun exposure, working on breathing, nice deep inhales through the nose, and finally getting outside, being more active outside of the gym, which in any terms, most of you and me could probably use a bit more sun. Workout. Just like any program, James's program includes working out. Generally a short to moderate range Metcon. James always posts a recommended time of what he thinks you should be roughly aiming for, giving you an idea of how fast or how slow you should be going. And finally, work well. It will focus on stabilizing muscles and the core development. You know what they say, right? 6-pack gets your bar re-racked. I could go into more detail about James, but you guys already know he's a fucking beast. I believe he deserves the title of the fittest vegan. What are your thoughts on James Newberry? Newberry. Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe to the channel, and as always, stay a beast.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my